And where exactly do you think that you're going? Didn't I already tell you that you can't run away from me? You can struggle if you like, but it's pointless. You belong to me, my cute kitten. And I'm never going to let you go. The train is rocking to and fro, but I can hardly feel it. I can hardly hear it either. I'm wearing my headphones and they're doing a pretty good job at blotting out all the external noise. These headphones might be pretty old, but they're not even wireless. I'm pretty fond of them. I've had them for a few years and they've seen me through a lot of my phases. First, I was really into progressive rock, then I got into metal for a bit. Now I'm all about voice actors. Just can't get enough. The train's pretty packed, just like it always is during the early hours of the morning. I'm not paying the businessmen and women crammed into the train around me any heed. I don't want to think about how unpleasantly cramped it is in here, even if I can feel a stranger's elbow dig into my side. And I don't want to think about how unpleasantly hot it is, even if my shirt is sticking to my back. I definitely don't want to think about the rest of my workday either, which is looming ahead of me like a particularly foreboding storm cloud. I just want to think about Shin Kirisaki Shin. Shin's low, husky voice fills my ears. He whispers sweet nothings into my eardrums, mostly about how happy it is that we can finally be together, and I sigh. I've heard Shin say these things hundreds of times before, though at this point I might be into the low thousands, but they never fail to get my heart racing. I usually listen to Shin's dulcet tones when I'm lying in bed at night, trying to unwind after yet another miserable day of work, but I've been feeling so burnt out lately it's become necessary to indulge in a little pick-me-up during my morning commute too. Most people out here opt for coffee to wake them up, or maybe natto for those among us who hate themselves. I'm not going to judge. Not for me. I don't really care for coffee, and less said about natto, the better. Some part of me still resents my maternal grandmother for force-feeding me that right back when I was a little kid. And my parents used to drop me and my brothers off at her place during the summer while they went on vacation. I think I would have preferred to eat tripe, actually. But I'm getting distracted. I'd far rather think about Shin. His lovely voice can get me through any hardship. Might be 24 and I might still be living with my parents, and I might be working a job I hate. I might not have a girlfriend, not that I've ever really wanted one. It's fine, even if I am lagging behind in life, because I have Shin. Shin makes everything better. His voice is just so... I don't know, it's hard to describe. Soothing might begin to cover it, maybe. He sounds super relaxing, even when he's talking about dismembering my family, which by all means, go right ahead. Is this how you guys feel about me? I mean, surely I do not have like that low, gruffy voice. I'm not corpse by any means. I can't say I'd be too cut up about it, even if they would be. Haruto and Rin deserve to suffer for all the crap they put me through all the years. Might feel a bit bad for Erika, Haruto's wife, and Satsuki, Rin's fiancé. So, they're both pretty nice, and I don't want either of them to be bereaved, especially not Erika, who has 2 kids. Erika and Satsuki have never wronged me. They certainly didn't help Rin waterboard my favorite bear in the toilet back when I was little. But, whatever. Who waterboards bears? Shin's voice is soothing. Yeah, because it's all low and soft, but there's also a note of danger to it. Listening to him is relaxing, but also has this way of making shivers go down my spine. I guess I think his voice is sexy. I mean, who doesn't? Shin is voiced by Moriyama Mamoru, who's well known for his velvety, smoky register. There's a reason he's so popular. He's beloved by all women all across Japan, and I'm not the only one out there who's in his thrall. I feel like I'm playing with fire though, listening to this guy whose voice is the oral equivalent of a good handy on a crowded train, but I'm back here to the fact that there's so many people around, it'll stop me from getting too hot and bothered. Jeez, it really is hot in here though. We're only in the early flush of spring. It's like mid-April, but there's so many bodies crammed into this train that the air is unpleasantly muggy. The train shifts, and I shift with it, as does the crush of bodies around me. Somebody steps on my foot. Another bonks me in the side with their briefcase. It hurts, but I try to ignore it. I tune them all out. I focus on Shin's voice, on Moriyama Mamoru, and try to relax my breathing. Want to cool down. I need to calm down, but... Oh, thank God. Like, I thought he was already in bed, like his pads were like way off. Koyasu. Our next station is Koyasu. Please ensure that you have all your baggage with you before disembarking from the train. The announcement, which comes over the tannoy, intrudes on my private Shin time. How unfair. The train slows to a halt. People around me begin to move, and then women retrieve their briefcases, and crying babies are pressed against the chests of weary mothers. The doors open with a whir. People start to leave in a hot, sweaty crush of bodies. There are so many people, it's pretty uncomfortable. Somebody bumps into me. I shift to one side, cursing, and then... Oh, frick! It happens. My headphone jack comes unplugged from my phone in a scrum, and then everyone in the train can hear it. Shin's voice is being broadcast to everybody within my immediate vicinity, and incredibly loudly at that. I don't know what the protagonist's name is, so like... Oh, MC! Don't look at me like that. Don't be so scared. I'm not gonna hurt you. Not yet, at least. Before I make you cry, I'd rather hear you purr in pleasure. My cute little kitten. How dead is, like, the main character? Frick. Frick, frick, frick! I hurriedly stick my headphone jack back into my phone before more of possessive boyfriends can be broadcast to the rest of the train. But sorry, it's too late. A bunch of people must have already heard that. They know what I've been listening to, and frick, I think those schoolgirls over there in their white blouses and brown skirts are laughing at me. Well, what do I expect? My appreciation for Shin is at this point purely medicinal. I'm afraid I can't get through my days without having him tell me on a regular basis how much he wants to eviscerate me. But how can I explain that to those sniggery schoolgirls? They understand. They understand. They would get... They understand, fam! Like, they get it! Heck, back when I was, like, their age, they were looking at all sorts of yaoi goodness. Yeah, I don't wholly get it either. What should I do? I'm really sorry. Please, don't pay it any heed. Oh my gosh, is he apologizing to us? What's he looking over here? What a weird... What even is he listening to anyway? That is like too funny. Puffed. Ugh. As I thought, my apology didn't really help. Those girls are still staring at me, and they're definitely laughing too. At least the other people on the train are decent enough not to gawk. They're just snorting into their heads instead. That, or they're trying not to look at me. Does everybody think I'm some sort of, like, perv now? I guess that would be a fair assumption, but... Yeah. I really do wish Shin was real. I wish he'd stick a knife right through my throat so I'd bleed to death. That I'd never have to deal with those judgmental stares. I wish. Hey, don't worry too much. Don't need to apologize either. It's not like you're meant for that to happen. Anyway, I think you have pretty good taste. My cute little kitten. Oh my god, did I hear that right just now? I'm not going crazy, am I? I swear, somebody just said something incredibly embarrassing. But who? And why? Were they mocking me? I glance about the train and then... Oh. Who is this Kaneki-looking mofo? I see him. I don't get to see him for that long. He's turning already, about to step off the train, but the brief glimpse of him I see is fairly promising. He's tall, good-looking, broad-shouldered. He's quite the catch, I suppose. But he was totally making fun of me. Well, frick. Forget begging Shin to end my life. I think I'd rather have him stab this guy instead. What a butthole. Ah, lovely bouncy music. My meeting with that guy, however, brief. For a second there, I thought it was going with the JoJo music. You know, my meeting with that guy, however brief, leaves me in a bad mood for the rest of the day, and the day after that, and the day after that. I can't get him out of my head. It's more than a little infuriating. If he'd given me the old side eye like the other passengers on the train, I think I would have been able to accept it. Heck, I even would have accepted it if he laughed at me, no matter how much that would have made my pride sting. It'd be perfectly understandable in the face of my fondness for Kirisaki's shin. The guy didn't laugh at me though, not openly at least. Instead, he smiled in this knowing, superior way that was actually incredibly annoying. But then he called me. Ugh! Thinking about what he called me is enough to make me shudder. Little kitten, he said. Little kitten! It's one thing when Moriyama Mamoru says it all low and sexy like in my ear, but it's quite another when a complete stranger does. I can't say I appreciated it that much. I didn't appreciate it at all, in fact. If I see that guy again, whose name I realize perhaps belatedly I never got, I think I might just die from embarrassment. If the ground had opened up beneath me, I would have surrendered to gravity's inexorable pull quite gladly. The ground, however, did not open up to swallow me, and I'm still here. That being the case, I have to keep my nose pushed to the old grindstone. I can't help but feel antsy now when I step onto the train in the mornings. I'm afraid I might run into my silky voice, not quite as orally talented as Moriyama Mamoru, but I guess he'll do torment her again. But despite my worries, I've not seen him since. Well, I guess that's not such a big surprise, really. Our meeting might have just been a one-off. There's no point in pondering what he meant by his parting words. No point in pondering if they ever meant anything at all. I'm getting myself worked up for no reason. Just need to forget him. I need to relax more. I think I need to listen to Shin's volume of possessive boyfriends about 50 more times. When all else fails, that always cheers me up. It's been almost a fortnight since I first saw that smug dude on the train. I was thinking, or hoping rather, that it would be the last. The train's always crammed when I'm commuting to work. But though I made an idiot out of myself, I doubt many people, if any, would remember it. Or if they remember it, would remember the face of the abashed perpetrator, aka me. I figured that everything would be fine. That's what I wanted to believe, at least, but... Oh my god! Well, if this isn't a coincidence, I was wondering if I'd be running into you again, my little kitten. Gah! Real life, as it transpires, isn't that easy. Sometimes I have to wonder whether I committed some awful crime in a past life, and now I'm paying dividends. Does it help that I feel pretty rotten already, on account of it being a Monday morning? I've heard that there are some people out there who actually enjoy their jobs. Wow, wild story, but yeah, I've never been able to relate to that. My job's pretty soul-draining, all things considered. I think it could only be worse if I was stuck in a customer service role in, say, a convenience store. That's something I actually did for a while. Come to think of it, when I just finished up high school. I didn't enjoy it all that much. My current job is slightly better than that, on account of the fact that I don't have to deal with quite so many jerks. But my current boss sure is doing his darnest to make up for that. I fear there may be no end to the trials that exist on this earth to try my patience. And I'm ranking this guy among them. Freaking hell. Oh, and that's an interesting greeting. That smug dude smiles in a predictably smag way at me. That makes my insides twist. Somebody might as well have stuck a steak knife in my guts. Oh, this is painful. It doesn't help that my first estimation of this guy was irritatingly accurate. He really is handsome. And he tall. I'm not sure myself, but this guy must have a good, 4 or 5 inches on me. Because of course he does. Why wouldn't he? Aren't you glad to see me? No. Why would I be? It's not like I know you. As far as I'm concerned, you're a total stranger. The stranger I've been internally referring to as that smug dude for a fortnight. Yeah, I can't say I'm overly fond of him, even if he is hot. Handsome people might get gassed up a lot in the entertainment industry, but I kind of get a feeling good-looking people are more likely to be buttholes than your regular guy. Hey! I'll have you know that I am an incredible butthole. In fact, my butthole is amazing. If you're pretty, people tend to be more forgiving of your faults and flaws. People use it as a get-out-of-jail-free card. It's a ready-made excuse, basically, to be a pooper. Oh yes, I suppose you're right. You made quite a striking impression when I saw you. I'll bet I did. Just game over me already. But I don't suppose that I did. I'm surprised, in fact, that he even recognized me. Huh? Does this mean I could have pretended not to know him and he would have bought it? Oh, way to go, me. I've really dug my own grave there. Now he's going to think that I've been staying up all night fantasizing about him or something. Which, okay, maybe I have been thinking about him. And his voice. Which is nice. But not that much. I swear. It's not like I'm orally fixated on him or anything. I mean, up until a whopping 1 minute ago, I'd only ever heard him speak about 5 words. There wasn't much material there for me to obsess over, even if I wanted to, which I hadn't. So there! Now who am I going to convince, I wonder? If you want a name, however. Did I ever say that? Then it's Hyuga. Hyuga Kazuya. My friends call me Kazuya. Alright then, Hyuga. I glare at the smug dude who now has a name. Ugh. I don't think I will be addressing you like we're BFFLs, TYSM, and Skull. I'm hoping my apparent lack of friendliness will deter him from any further attempts at fostering some kind of relationship between us, but I guess he hasn't forgotten the memo. Either way, he's incredibly bad at reading the room, or he knows full well how I feel about him and doesn't give a single solitary poo. I wonder which one it could be. And you. Hyuga smiles in a perfectly charming manner, which makes me want to perfectly punch him in the face. You do have a name, I suppose, unless you want me to keep calling you little kitten. The nerve of this man! Where does he get off? What makes you think I want to call you anything? Or I want you to call me anything? Well, I have to call you something, don't I? It'd be rude not to. Yeah, because calling a perfect stranger a pet name isn't rude already. Since I run into you twice, I presume we both take the same line to work. Our paths will probably cross a few more times. Oh no, anything but that. Anything but being stuck in a train with a hot, possibly yandere dude. So if this does happen, I'd like to be prepared. What do you want me to call you? I don't want you to call me anything at all. Weren't you listening? Are you so tall you can't hear me all the way up there? With your head stuck in space? That's what I think, but I don't say it. It'd be a bit too aggressive even for me. Instead I frown, then say it, once I've worked through some of my latent anger issues. Mamiya. Beg your pardon? Mamiya. I said, my name is Mamiya Hibiki. My friends call me Hibiki, so you'd best stick with my family name. Ah, so that's what you're called. I was wondering, don't start calling my name in the middle of the night. It's nice to meet you, Hibiki. Weren't you listening to me? Told you to stick with Mamiya. I know you did, but that seems so formal. I mean... Hyuga brings his face closer to mine, and hey, isn't he getting a little too close? I don't even let my parents invade my personal space like this, much less some total rando I've only just met. If you want to get all touchy-feely with me, could have at least bought me dinner, you jerk. I already know what you're into. You have a thing for possessive guys, right? If I felt awkward before, which I did, thanks, Hyuga, I feel positively ashamed now. My face is going all red. I know it is, because I can feel it burning. And I can see, too, that Hyuga's smirking. Oh, yes, I read it right the first time. The upturned quirk of Hyuga's lip is not in any way a smile. It's definitely a smirk. That settles it. He really is mocking me. I should probably spit on this guy for his insolence. Part of me wants to, but his previous remarks have left me in a bit of a muddle. Instead, I stare at him. I seem to be doing a lot of that, but so sue me. He has a face which was built to be stared at, and say, Are you familiar with the Possessive Boyfriend series? That's right. Hyuga steps away from me. Thank God for that, and offers me a smile. So this one seems a little more genuine than his last offering. It's not something I talk about very often. It's a bit of an unseemly hobby, I guess. For a guy in his 30s, suppose. But I'm pretty fond of drama CDs too. I recognized what you were listening to at once. It was Shin's installment of the Possessive Boyfriend series, voiced by Moriyama Mamoru. Isn't that right? Well, yeah. If you know all that, then you must know that you're right. I pause. Well, this is kinda surreal. I thought Possessive Boyfriend was a series whose core audience was comprised of teenage girls from between the ages of 13 to 18. Hey, I'll have you know that a lot of people in their 20s, do love yanderes. And apparently, there are some people in their 30s and 40s who love them too. Well, Possessive Boyfriend's fan base was comprised of teenage girls once upon a time, but the series is actually pretty old now. The first volume of the series with the OG Possessive Boyfriend, the homie childhood friend Atsushi, came out in 2011, I think. So yeah, it's been a while. Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure they're talking about Yandere Heaven, which is both a Japanese audio drama as well as a visual novel I played a while back. Atsushi is just one of the love interests you could actually go for in that. So fascinating. My Best Boy, Shin's volume, meanwhile, came out in December 2012. I didn't find out about Possessive Boyfriends until way after the hype died down and its online fandom had already died in the water. Never thought I'd meet another Possessive Boyfriends aficionado in this day and age, but I never thought there'd be another guy too. Guess it's a small world. I'm kind of fond of Moriyama Mamoru, I guess. You are? Yeah, I think I owned all the drama series when he's acted in over the years. The stuff aimed at women like Possessive Boyfriends and the other stuff too. The BL stuff, you mean? Yeah, that's right. Sorry, hope that doesn't sound weird. I don't think it's weird. No, why should I? Well, I know I shouldn't be ashamed of my hobbies, really. There are worse things a person can listen to than Moriyama Mamoru's sultry tones every day. It's not like I'm causing a public disturbance, except, I guess, for the one instance 2 weeks back, when my phone got unplugged and everyone started staring at me. I think that was probably more unpleasant for me than everybody else, though. Some people get their thrills from, I don't know, stalking celebrities online or strapping fireworks to cats, but all I really like to do is lie on my bed and listen to Moriyama Mamoru threatening to cut me up into bloody pieces. That's, well, maybe it's not normal, but it's not worth putting me into some sort of public watch list. It's fine. We all have foibles. That's what I try to tell myself at least, but if I'm being honest, I am a little embarrassed about my love for Moriyama Mamoru. He's been my favorite voice actor for about 3 years now. I guess you could say my feelings border on obsession. It's not like I love Moriyama Mamoru himself. I've never met the guy, but his voice, it's incredible. Love it a lot, but I've never actually talked about it with anybody before. Not out loud, at least. I might have mentioned it on online forums, but yeah, I get kind of self-conscious there too, even with the benefit of anonymity. I guess it's not really normal being a guy while liking to listen to other guys so much, but Hyuga, for what it's worth, doesn't seem to be judging me. Instead, he's smiling. Are you embarrassed? A bit. Well, don't be. I don't care what you're into. The things you do in your spare time is your own business, and I can't really blame you for liking Moriyama. He's as popular as he is for a reason. I guess it's true. Moriyama Mamoru still lends roles left, right, and center. Though he debuted 15 years ago. Debuted? Or is it debuted? In the early days of his career, he did a lot of drama CDs, but he wound up getting pretty big around the start of 2015 when he started voice acting some super popular TV anime about swords and demons and whatever the heck. I watched a bit of that show myself, largely because of Moriyama Mamoru, but I couldn't really get into it. It was way too hot-blooded for my liking. Is it Black Clover or Demon Slayer? Moriyama Mamoru has been in a bunch of stuff since then. All TV anime for the most part, but I'm not too interested. I liked him more in the early days when he was doing his voice dramas. He's great as Leo in Fatal Attraction, but I also love his Hibiri in Midnight Moon, but Shin from Possessive Boyfriends has them all beat. What I wouldn't give to be locked up in a cage by Shin. At least I would have to worry about commuting to work then. But what about you? If you know all the stuff about drama CDs, then you must know a bit about it too. Well, just a bit. I never really meant to get into all this voice actor stuff actually. Mostly happened because of my sister. You have a sister? Her name's Kazusa. Kazusa. Get it? I get it. Very droll. I'm sure that's what my parents thought too. They must have figured it'd be cute having kids with such similar names. Not that they're twins or anything. Kazusa's actually 6 years younger than I am. Oh, right. They have siblings too, but no sisters. I'm the youngest of 2 brothers. Yeah? What's that like? Awful. I pull a face. I'd rather not talk about it, actually. Even though I was the one who brought it up. I'm not sure why. I didn't intend to get pulled into a conversation with Hyuga. I actually wanted him to leave me alone, but he's more amicable than I first gave him credit for. I was determined to hate him, but I can't do that now. Not when he knows who Moriyama Mamoru is, and especially not when he knows about Kirisaki Shin. You can't be a bad person and not know about Shin. Hey, you can't really judge people on that. Unless you're one of those joyless people online, at least, who likes complaining about how he's a problematic character because he's a bit of a psychopath. I mean, sure, Shin does threaten to murder the main character's family, friends, and pets if she should ever leave him. Where's the harm in that? It's not like any of it's real. Besides, the series is called Possessive Boyfriends. You get what it says on the tin. People who don't like it don't have to listen to it. I think they should stop complaining and let the rest of us who like being threatened by pretty anime enjoy a daydreaming in peace. I won't press the point then. I always try to be a good brother to Kazusa, but I guess it's different when you have a little sister. If I'd had a little brother, maybe I would have been a bit of a bully myself. Kazusa was actually the one who got me into voice actors. She used to love Moriyama Mamoru. She was really excited in the lead up to the release of Shin's volume in Possessive Boyfriends. It's all she talked about for ages. I guess she was an original fan then. She was indeed. She even won some lottery event a few years back that let her meet Moriyama Mamoru in person. She was really excited about that. Ah, no way. I know this must have happened over a decade ago, probably around the time I was in middle school, but this reveal had me feeling kinda jealous. Maybe I have a possessive streak myself. Yeah, way. She was only 14 at the time, though. Only 14, huh? Then Hyuga's little sister must be my age. My parents were worried about her going off to this event on her own. They asked me to tag along with her, just to keep an eye on things, and well, I didn't think much about it at the time, but going to the event in person was surprisingly fun. I was prepared to roll my eyes throughout the whole thing. I wasn't the oldest person there, but I was one of the only guys, but the atmosphere was pretty electric. These women were all beside themselves at the thought of seeing Moriyama. They acted like he was some kind of god. Got to see the guy himself. When Kazusa was getting her CD autograph, and I didn't think too much of him. He seemed pretty ordinary from where I was standing, but when I heard him talking and... yeah. His voice was pretty nice, I'll give him that. After that, I got curious, so I wound up asking Kazusa if I could listen to a few of her drama CDs, and I guess I got hooked myself. Listened to all of Possessive Boyfriends in one night. All the volumes that were out at least, but don't hate me for this. Shin wasn't actually my favorite. He wasn't? What the heck is up with that? Who doesn't like Shin? Okay, I know a lot of people who don't like Shin, but I'd hope Hyuga would have good taste at least. No, he wasn't actually, but don't get me wrong. I think Moriyama's a great voice actor. His work's incredible. It's not for me. I don't tend to go in for characters who are quite so... stabby. Well, that figures. Of course Hyuga would like Kirisaki Shin. Being locked in a cage would probably make his precious masculinity feel threatened. How pathetic. I can only roll my eyes so much. I wouldn't mind having a discussion about my favorite character Possessive Boyfriends. I could go pretty in-depth in fact, but alas. Yeah, he actually says alas. Who does he think he is? Hikaru Genji? He'll be at my stop soon. I need to call things here, or I'll be talking about Possessive Boyfriends from now till New Year's. But before I go, you want my number? You're being serious? Well, why not? It's not every day I can speak to a fellow Possessive Boyfriend, Stan. What about your sister? She isn't into this stuff anymore. She gave me her whole collection of drama CDs before she went to university. Said she was too old for it. I don't think anybody's too old, personally, to enjoy their hobbies, but to each their own. Hyuga shrugs, then smiles. It's a bit sad my sister doesn't want to talk about her favorite VAs anymore. But you could always fill the gap, if you'd be down for it. I think it'd be fun. Well, I wasn't very happy about running into Hyuga again, but I guess our second meeting hasn't been too unbearable. It'd be fun, actually, to find someone else in the world who actually knows about possessive boyfriends. I'm becoming all fluttery here. If I was a girl, I'd probably swoon. If you want my number, I guess it'd be fine. I'll fish on my phone while I speak, as does Hyuga. We exchange the numbers, then Hyuga turns once the train pulls it to a stop. I'll see you later, my little kitten. Don't miss me too much. I'm sure I'll live. Don't cry for me. I won't then. Ciao. Yeah, he actually says ciao. Hey! I always say ciao! What the heck? Who says ciao? Certainly not the same people who say alas. Well, yeah, certainly not the same people. I mean, heck, I only say ciao. Who says alas? If you pitted those things on a Venn diagram, there shouldn't be any overlap between them at all. He's such a pretentious. But I'm not unhappy that I ran into him again. He really wasn't that bad, though I am questioning his taste. I don't get why he cares about me enough to want my number. Well, he also said that Shin's installment of Possessive Boyfriends isn't his favorite, so that ought to say something about his likes and dislikes. Namely, they need more work. Now, I wonder which character in Possessive Boyfriends he could actually like more than Shin. Atsushi's alright, I guess. He's kind of plain, but he is the OG. And so is Ryota. But if he says Rintaro, I might have to reconsider every single nice thing I've ever thought about him. Who likes Rintaro anyway? Idiots, that's who. I wasn't sure when Hyuga asked for my number on the train whether he'd bother using it, but he soon shows me up. Hyuga doesn't text me later that day, but does text me in the morning after, just to check up on me, I guess. His texts aren't anything too special. They're pretty inconsequential, actually, but it's kind of nice to know he's thinking about me often enough to bother asking after me. We don't talk too much in the following weeks, but we do trade a few stories over text when we're both free. But our respective fondness for certain voice actors, Hyuga's favorite seems to be Matsuoka Kenichi, which, well, I guess we all have our own taste, and about our favorite drama CDs. Hyuga also tells me a little more about a huge collection of drama CDs his sister amassed during her high school years. He even asked me one day during what I'm assuming to be his lunch hour if I'd like to borrow some of her rarer pieces to listen to query a reply to like so. I don't know about that. Wouldn't your sister mind? Some of those CDs are pretty valuable. I don't think she'd care too much about that. You sure? Positive. I already told you that she's moved on from drama CDs. She gave me her collection, so it's mine now, and I'd like to share it with you. You seem pretty reasonable. When you first met me, I made a total butt out of myself. I'm kinda clumsy in case you hadn't realized. Good point. I hadn't thought about that. You wouldn't be my cute little kitten if you weren't a bit clumsy, though. Hey! Whoever said I was your cute kitten? Isn't that what Shin always says? I thought you'd be into it. I am into it whenever Shin says it. You're not Shin, though. Do you want me to cut it out, then? Well, it's a bit of a pain, but it's fine, I guess. You can call me that if you really want to. Just not in public. Ah, that's no fun. What do you want to call me that for? Don't get it. I don't know. Like seeing you blush, I guess. Wow, you are such a butt. I know I am. You really want to talk? I thought you were into that. Ah, shut up. So yeah, that's how our exchanges go, more or less, over the past few weeks. He promises he'll let me borrow some of his sister's drama CDs at some point, when he's got a free minute and he can afford to meet me, but nothing comes of it. I could always text him myself, but that kind of feels ox. But he's the one who's been doing all the chasing. If he doesn't want to talk, then we won't talk. I'm not going to pester him. Why should I? The way things have been lately, I'm sure we'll see each other again eventually. And sure enough. Well, fancy seeing you here. What are the odds? Now, what's that meant to be? Pickup line? How cliché. I roll my eyes, then murmur. I'd say they're fairly high since we take the same line to work. True, but it has been a while since I last saw you. Suppose our schedules didn't match up. It's a bit of a shame we had to meet under these circumstances, though. The train's already crowded in the morning. It's even more crowded than usual today, thanks to a signal failure somewhere down the track. A couple of trains had to be delayed as a result of this failure. The service had gotten all backed up, which means there are even more bodies crammed around me than usual. This compartment is so choked with people. The schoolgirl's been standing at my foot for the last 5 minutes. A couple of businessmen have been digging their briefcases. On purpose, I don't think so, to my side. It's not like I'm particularly antisocial or anything, even if I do hate a good 60% of my colleagues. I don't like having complete strangers all up in my personal space. I have half a mind to tell this girl to get off of me, but I don't think she's doing it maliciously, and anyway, there's so many people, there isn't much else she can feasibly go. Yeah, I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable, but I guess I'll just put up with it. I'm surprised that Hyuga was able to get on the train at all, given it's so crowded, but he's headstrong enough. Inconsiderate enough not to care, I guess, about inconveniencing people. I watched him force his way through a throng of people entering and exiting the train to get in here. Watched him too, wending his way through the crowd to wind up right next to yours truly. He went to quite a lot of effort to stand next to me. His hair, which usually looks so perfect, is rumpled for once, and his lapels crooked. Seeing the usually infallible Hyuga Kazuya looking worse for wear is a bit of a power trip. Not that it lasts very long. I can't imagine I look much better than he does. The crowd today really sure is something. I was afraid I was going to be late for work. I had to let 2 trains go by already. They were so full. Oh? Well, that's news to me. I figure you just muscle your way in, regardless of everybody else. Do you really think I would? Hyuga pouts. Oh, Hibiki, you wound me. I had no idea you thought I was that callous. I'm not a monster. Not unless you want me to be. What's that supposed to mean, huh? I think you know. Hyuga leans in. Not that it needs to lean very far, given how closely packed our bodies already are, and whispers hotly into the shell of my ear. Don't play dumb with me, my little kitten. I knew it was coming, of course. I've been my little kitten by Hyuga more times than I can count this last month. My face still heats up regardless. It's like clockwork. Really, though. Hyuga draws away from me, then sighs. It would be nice if we could talk under more accommodating circumstances. Accommodating? What's if the music change? I raise an eyebrow. You're trying to ask me out or something? I want to get out of this train, certainly. It's awful in here. Whew! You dodged that question pretty smoothly. I wonder if he's used to fielding off invites for dates from his colleagues. It doesn't seem too unlikely given how good looking he is. Bet lots of people are interested. Not that I am. I'm not disappointed he didn't reply to me properly. Not one bit. I'm as cool as a cucumber, me. A cucumber that's been left out in the kitchen counter for a week maybe. The summer heat to go all mushy. So, Hyuga, I think there's something you still have to tell me. About what? About possessive boyfriends, of course. I mean, duh. You told me the last time I saw you that Shin isn't your favorite character, but you haven't told me who is. Ah, so that's what you meant. Has it been playing on your mind? Not really, it's not like I care that much. So if you say your favorite character is Rintaro, I have to reconsider even speaking to you. Ouch! That's harsh. What's wrong with Rintaro, huh? Most people consider him superior to Shin, given he never locked the main character in a cage. Most people think that, yeah, but most people are idiots. Sure, Shin locks you up in a cage, but he has abandonment issues. His dad left when he was still a kid, and his mother was too busy working to pay him any attention. He was raised by his maternal grandmother, and then when she died, he was left alone. It's unnatural to be possessive after he falls for the main character. I mean, he's in love with her. He's never felt like that about anybody before, and he's terrified of losing her. He might do bad things, but I understand his motives. I can't hate him for that. He's too pitiable. He's like a pathetic meow meow. Rintaro, meanwhile, is just kind of whiny. What's with all this, I'm a man, so I have to protect you nonsense? It's so infantilizing, especially when Rintaro is meant to be a shorty. I guess the creators were going for this gap moe thing, He wants to look out for you despite being all small and scrawny. But it's just so annoying. Like, geez, back off, won't you? You're never going to be hero of justice, so shut the hell up. I feel a little out of breath once I finish. I can get pretty passionate when the subject of possessive boyfriends comes up, which seems to surprise Hyuga. He raises one eyebrow, then whistles. Whew, I knew you had a thing for Shin, but I didn't think you liked him as much as all that. Yeah, I do like him that much. He's my favorite for a reason. He's easily the most in-depth of all the characters in the series, and I'm not just saying that because he threatens to kill people. I don't understand how anybody can hate him after you hear about his backstory and his grandmother. His past sad and all, but I guess the whole threatening to cut your leg off thing tends to deter most people. Most people are babies. Hyuga chuckles. It's a rich, warm sound which reminds me a little of Moriyama Mamoru, though not when he's voicing Shin, crossed over with a warm apple pie. It's an interesting combination, I guess. It's kinda spicy, maybe cinnamony. Either way, it's more appealing than it has any right to be. You're funny, Hibiki. You sure don't mince your words? No, I don't. Not when it comes to possessive boyfriends. I have a strong feeling on the cast. I can tell. Shin really must bring it out of you. What can I say? I guess I just like deranged psychopaths. That your type? If we're talking fictional men, then yes, I'd have no problem with being tied up and tortured, in theory at least. But in actuality, I feel faint at the sight of blood, so I frown. I don't think I'd be able to endure Shin's love IRL. It'd be too intense for me. But despite that, he's still your favorite. Well, these drama CDs are all escapism anyway. Well said. It's a bit of fun, though, I must say. I don't care much for Rintaro either. Hiragi Mitsuaki does a good job selling him, I guess. He has this very nasal, high-pitched sort of voice, but it gets on my nerves. At least Shin can actually make good on his promises. Or threats, if you like, when he locks the main character up. When he said, I'll make you mine, he meant it. With Rintaro, though, I know. Doesn't he seem like kind of a tryhard? I know, right? I can't stand him. You wouldn't mention this, yeah. My favorite character is actually, if you're still interested, Atsushi. No! I mean, yeah, he's the OG, but no! Not the very first possessive boyfriend? That's right. I know some people think he's plain. Kazusa thought he was too much of a good boy, but I like that. I don't need a lot of bells and whistles to find a character appealing, or a sad backstory to like your Shin. I guess I like simple, straightforward types, earnest characters who wants to help people. Atsushi seems like the sort of guy to me. It doesn't hurt that he's voiced by Ozaki Ryo, I suppose. Nakagawa Atsushi, the very first possessive boyfriend of the lot, like Hyuga said, quite a straightforward character. He doesn't fancy himself to be some sort of knight errant like Rintaro, and he isn't a psychopath like Shin. He's your ten-a-penny childhood sort of thing, a well-meaning guy who's known the main character since he was a little kid, and has always had a crush on her for years, but he's always been too cowardly to confess. His drama CD takes place pretty predictably in the classroom in school. At the final bell's rung, the rest of the class have dispersed. The main character, who in this scenario is being bullied by classmates, has been forced to stay behind to manage all the cleaning up, while anybody else hightails to, I don't know, go to karaoke or something. I can't remember all the exact details. It's been a while since I listened to Atsushi's CD. Anyway, Atsushi, who's in a different class than the main character, shows up when she's in the middle of wiping down the windows, and he offers to help her. He talks to her while they work, and he eventually wheedles out the truth from her, namely that she's being bullied. Atsushi, who up to this point has been quite quiet and reserved, gets upset, and his voice veers into, I'm not sure if I should cry or shout territory. It's pretty convincing. Ozaki Ryo, Atsushi's voice actor, tends to voice unassuming cinnamon rolls like Atsushi, and his register's fairly soft, but he has a decent amount of range when he's not being typecast as just another nice guy. His voice isn't deep like Moriyama Mamoru's, and I don't think he'd be able to master creepy or icy cold, but he can do a decent, I care about you so much it's hurting me. It sounds very sincere. Atsushi tells the main character that he feels sorry about all that's been happening to her, and what's more, he's sorry he's never noticed it sooner. I thought there was something off for a while now, Atsushi says, but I didn't want to pry. I thought, if it's anything serious, you tell me. But to think, it actually took so long. You say that you didn't want to bother me, but I'm your best friend. I don't mind being bothered by these things. In fact, I want to be bothered by them. I want to feel like you can tell me anything. But maybe that's hypocritical for me. There are things I haven't been telling you after all. Cue the confession. It's pretty cute, despite being fairly standard. The thing at Atsushi. A little too plain. Personally, for a possessive boyfriend, he isn't exactly that possessive. But he's one of the more popular characters in the series. Or was, rather. Back when people still give a damn about the series. He easily has the most merchandise. He's even got a figure, which is more than can be said for Shin. He's only ever had a couple of official keychains, an acrylic stand, and a wall scroll. I can see Atsushi's appeal in theory. He has an appealing character design with fluffy hair and freckles. And his voice is pretty sweet, but he doesn't really do it for me. Okay, yeah, I know guys, I know. This is not Yandere Heaven. This is like a completely different franchise at this point. I'm also starting to wonder if this visual novel is literally two guys gushing over the same series. Anyway, he's not my type. I guess you have a thing for cinnamon rolls then. Maybe I do. I'd rather be the one doing the pushing personally in a relationship than the one being pushed. Natsushi seems like he'd be fun to bully. The part where he cries in the middle of the confession always makes my heart melt. Ugh, should have figured you'd be into that. You really are a sadist. Oh, like you're one to judge. If you think I'm a sadist, then you must be a masochist. Your fondness for the narrow-doer, well, Shin says it all, my little kitten. I'd like to counter this, but I'm not sure what to say. Maybe I am a masochist. I must be if I find the idea of being trapped in a cage so enticing. There's something about the way Moriyama Mamoru says, I don't want to hurt you. If you keep disobeying me, you leave me no choice. All pets have to be house-trained, even cute little kittens like yourself. That just makes me so... No! Yeah, let's not go there. That's a bit too much stimulation for my morning commute. Well, we all like what we like, and our tastes tend to change as we get older. In the beginning, I actually liked Kei and Katsura the best, at least until I started at my current job. Not the twins? Yeah, the twins. Like how clingy they both were. But I get enough of people coming to me at work to really appreciate them the way I used to. Having people ask you for advice 24/7 gets pretty old. Oh, now that's interesting. I don't have much of an opinion on Kei and Katsura other than the fact that it's vaguely impressive they're both voiced by the same guy. But I'm intrigued to hear about Hyuga's job. I don't think he's mentioned it before. What do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking? I'm a lawyer. To be more precise, defense attorney. It's grueling work and sometimes it's pretty grim. Some of the cases I've had to listen to will make your hair curl. But the pay is good. I like helping out where I can, I suppose. Ah, a defense attorney, is it? I guess that makes sense. I did think that Hyuga looks too well dressed to be some corporate schlub like I am. His suits are all dark and striking. And then there's that fancy looking watch of his. I bet his getup costs more than I make in a whole month. Maybe 2 months. How much does a Rolex cost anyway? No idea. I don't even have a watch. It seems like a bit of a waste when your phone's just as good for telling the time. Watches only exist as a status symbol now. It's not the Taisho era anymore. Oh wow, it's kinda cool I guess. I suppose your job's pretty stressful. Can be, yeah. It's not too bad actually. You've had a lighter workload than usual? That's part of it, but there's another reason too why I've been feeling so good. Which is? You know. It's just this guy I met. On my way to work. I've not talked to him all that much, but seeing him in the morning does lighten my spirits. He's a lot of fun to talk to. And he's incredibly fun to tease. I get the feeling he might prefer being tied up though. His tastes are kind of out there. Ah! You! I stare at Hyuga, my face cherry red. I've half a mind to stomp on his foot, but the moment passes and I don't. I don't do anything. All I can do is stand there, slack-jawed, feeling like a complete and utter idiot. Is this what I get for waxing poetic for my love for fictional psychopaths? Did I bring this on myself? Maybe Hyuga thinks he's doing me some sort of favor. Perhaps I should count myself lucky that he's promised not to murder my family yet. Yeah, looks like my stop's coming up, and not a moment too soon. I'll see you later, alright, Hibiki? Maybe you can tell me what you do for work yourself. Love to learn more about you. Hyuga laughs and leaves, winning his way through the crowd in an infuriatingly elegant manner. I can never pull that off. Not in a million years. This whole time, my stupid heart is pounding. It feels like I've just run a marathon. I tend to feel like this after listening to Moriyama Mamoru's whispering sweet nothings in my ears, but Hyuga, his voice isn't quite the same power as Mamoru's, but it's quite appealing. Crumbs. I thought I hated him when I first met him, but I'm not sure now. This really is confusing. Doesn't take all that long until I see Hyuga again. The next meeting comes a little later that week, actually. Only 3 days after our last encounter. When Hyuga sees me on the train, which is thankfully a little less crowded than it was during the disaster that was Monday morning, he grins and makes a beeline over to me. We exchange pleasantries, which at this point has become standard between us. Hey Hibiki, it's nice to see you again. Yeah, whatever. Then Hyuga launches into a bit of a guessing game, one which was curtailed the last time we talked. Curtailed? So, about your job. Hyuga looks me up and down, like he's some sort of apex predator sizing up a sickly gazelle. Kinda makes me feel like I'm going to be devoured. So whether that's in a sexy way or a visceral, violent, cannibalistic way, I'm not quite sure. I don't really know what I prefer either. I'm a man of varied taste, I suppose. Take a look at how you dress. I assume you work in some sort of office. Is it that obvious? Well, yeah, I had you pegged as a junior office worker. The sort that makes photocopies, I guess, and sends over faxes, or a newbie school teacher. The suit gave you that sort of vibe, though. I get the feeling you probably don't care for children very much. Not particularly. I don't have a patience for them. I thought as much, based on the way you talk to me. So you're an office worker? Unfortunately, yeah. And where exactly do you work? What do you do? I work at a travel agency, but I don't talk to any actual customers. I'm a PC guy, so I do a bunch of coding for the website, databases and such. Databases, huh? Sounds kinda fancy. Yeah, it's really not. My job's as dull as a dishwasher. Maybe to you, but I don't actually know that much about tech. More of a pencil and paper guy. I can just about manage my work laptop. I can't imagine doing any of the actual coding. Well, isn't it lucky you don't have to imagine it? You get to cavort with criminals all day. That sounds much more exciting. Now, don't typecast my clients, please. I don't just help criminals get away with their charges. But you do on occasion? On occasions, yeah. Defended plenty of innocents too, though. It's all swings and roundabouts, c'est la vie. You're being awfully fair about this. Laissez-faire? Yeah, well, I've worked my job for about 5 years. It's getting a little stale. Hyuga smiles, then nudges me into the side with his elbow. Anyway, we're getting all bent out of shape about this. I would have thought you, more than anybody, will appreciate what I do for society. How do you mean? Aren't you the one? Hyuga's voice drops down to a whisper, presumably for my sake. I guess he doesn't want people judging me. What a sweetheart. Who has a thing for criminals? No. I nudge Hyuga's hand away, scowling as I do. Really, I think as a defense attorney, shouldn't he know better than not to get too handsy with near strangers? That's naughty harassment suit just waiting to happen. Not, I guess, that the police would take me seriously if I press charges. It's every man for himself out here. I might like Shin, but he's not real. I don't actually want anybody to cut me up in real life, thank you very much. So I don't suppose I'd shed too many tears if a kindly passing serial killer did decide to shank my manager. He's as bad as all that, huh? He's absolutely awful. I thought about stuffing his head in with a printer on more than one occasion. I mean, why not? 2 birds, 1 stone and all. There's one thing I hate more than my manager. It's the old office printers, which makes this awful whir noise whenever we ask them to print out anything double-sided. They're a nightmare. Maybe I shouldn't be telling you this though, since you're a lawyer. Forget I said anything, alright? I'll be the soul of discretion. Don't worry. The secret's safe with me. You aren't going to report me to the police? That's fairly standard for people who daydream about murdering their bosses. People who wouldn't, under other circumstances, hurt flies. Besides, I know you'd rather be murdered than get murdered. You're not the assertive type. Yeah, well, committing murder sounds like too much effort. I quite agree. It's quite nasty business, really. I'd much rather lead a quiet life. With a homie doting sort of guy like Atsushi? He's my ideal, yeah. His tousled, mousy look is awfully endearing. And he's good at cooking. He's the whole package. You don't have a girlfriend then who cooks for you. My grandparents would like it if I did. They constantly nag at me about grandkids, but no. Mrs. Hyuga has yet to come into the picture. It seems fairly unlikely at this point that she ever will. I can't say I'm overly keen on this idea, despite my grandmother's incessant nagging. Right then. Does this mean that you're, I pause. Gay, I was going to say. I think Hyuga knows I was going to say it too, but I have to catch myself. It's a bit of a sensitive topic to bring up, even one-on-one, but we aren't alone right now. We're on a train and don't know what is listening to us. At least I don't think they are. Never hurts to be too careful. I don't want to risk outing Hyuga, if it's possible to out him, I guess. For all this talk about Atsushi being his type, there's no guarantee he actually likes guys. He might prefer fictional ones, kind of like how I have a thing for fictional psychopaths. I don't, and I feel like this bears repeating, I actually want to be shut up in cages. I don't want to press Hyuga into giving me an answer, but this, as soon as I discover, is an unnecessary concern. He winds up picking up on my aborted query regardless. You wanna know if I like men? I guess I do, but sorry, isn't that a bit evasive? Nah, it's fine. It's a fair question given all I've told you already. Though it does depend, I suppose, on who you're asking. Huh? What an esoteric answer. What do you mean? Well, my grandparents were asking me about my sexuality. I have no real choice but to tell them that I'm straight. My grandparents would have a heart attack otherwise, and my gramps will probably disown me. They're still stuck in the 1950s, you see. My grandmother still thinks women who wear skirts higher than their knees are basically, well, adult workers. If you were one of my colleagues, meanwhile, well, the less they know about my personal life, the better. I think they'd respect me more the less they know. Mystery makes me seem more unapproachable. Right, I get that. There's some things you don't want other people to know, but if I'm the one asking? If it's you, then... Hyuga leans in, his voice dropping to a whisper, then says, We'll have to wait and see how things go between us, don't we? Great! Hyuga's parting words to me during our last visit proved to be unsettlingly prophetic, in that I do have to wait until I see him again. I have to wait an awful lot, in fact. Whole weeks pass between our interactions which, despite being spaced out, are always fairly amicable. For the most part. I can't say I like it when Hyuga calls me his little kitten, but I don't think that's something I'll ever really get to gripes with. Feels pretty nice when Shin says it, whispering into my ear like the murder psychopath he is. When Hyuga says it, it just feels like he's making fun of me. Probably because he is. Our whole relationship, if it can be called that, seems to be based, for the most part, around Hyuga teasing me, and me getting all huffy, and him saying don't sweat it, and me saying I'm not, even though I am, and he knows I am, and I definitely know I am, etc, etc. A couple of months pass like this, and though I keep up a semi-regular correspondence with Hyuga, can't help but wonder, does he actually like me, or is he just toying with me? Now that is the billion-yen question. The worst thing is, I'm too anxious to ask him outright. It's not like I just up and text him, hey, what do you think about me? It's like arranging to meet up with him would smack a bit too much desperation for my liking, which I'm not. I swear I'm not. I'm not desperate for Hyuga to like me. Why would I be? It's not like we're good friends. He's just an acquaintance, really. We hardly know one another. But for some maddening, infuriating reason, whenever he leaves me, I always find myself wanting more. Forget Hyuga toying with me. I feel like my head's toying with itself. I'm thinking about this way too much. If Hyuga knew about this, he'd probably laugh at me, which is precisely why I don't tell him any of this. I don't mind it when he laughs with me, but I think I wouldn't mind very much, in fact, if he started to laugh at me. This freaking sucks. Today has sucked, actually, ever since I woke up. I managed to sleep through my alarm, so I only had 15 minutes to bolt down my breakfast, then get dressed for work. I had to tear through my food so quickly, I choked on a mouthful of miso soup, and then, when I was brushing my teeth, I spilled toothpaste down my front. I had to get changed into another shirt after that debacle, which was a huge pain in my butt since I was so slow on time already. Which meant, of course, I was later than usual getting to the station, and later than usual showing up to work. I was only, to my credit, 10 minutes late into office, which I don't think was too terrible, but my manager disagreed. He pulled me over to one side and gave me this lengthy lecture on my conduct and how it just wasn't good enough, that I needed to pull myself together stat before I let the whole team down. Personally, I thought he was being a bit OTT. That's 10 minutes, really. When I've done eons of unpaid overtime over the last month, but it's not like I could come out and say that. I might not be the sharpest tool in the shed, unlike my tool savant older brothers, but I'm not a complete idiot. I knew arguing back and forth with people with the power to fire me is a big no-no. Instead, I just had to smile and take it. Not that I smiled, actually, because smiling probably would have pissed off my manager even more. I tried to adopt a look of contrition while he was laying into me instead, which I think appeased him because eventually, after 10 minutes, he excused me with an impetuous wave of one hand and arch. Well, so long as you understand, Mamiya. Now, run along. Now, I'm not kidding. That's what he said. Run along like I was a misbehaving puppy or a small child. It was all pretty annoying. My misfortunes was only beginning. Work itself was pretty uneventful, I guess, after my big telling off in the morning, so I did scald myself while washing my hands in the office toilet during lunchtime. That's nothing new, though. The taps in the office bathrooms always run molten hot, a fun fact that keeps slipping up my mind until my fingers feel like they're on fire. I wouldn't be surprised if I cinched my fingerprints off at this point, thanks to those freaking taps. I could probably stab my manager to death in a dark alley and nobody would be able to pin the crime on me, even if I left my murder weapon behind on account of my freakish fingers. Oh, that's an appealing thought. Not that I'm a serial killer or anything. Leave that to Shin, my beloved. In any case, the workday itself wasn't too bad until 5 p.m. rolled around and I found myself stuck at the office. I had to do overtime again because of course I did. Who cares that it's a Friday? Some of us might have, things to do with our lives. My manager certainly didn't. We had a few support tickets to take care of, which could not, according to my manager, wait until next week. So everybody on my team had to stay behind for 4 hours. I kid you not, until these tickets were taken care of. I didn't get out of the office until after 9 p.m., which is a record, even for my amazingly exploitative company. I've been working there for 2 years now, and I'm used to doing overtime for an hour or two, but 4? Those are new heights, or maybe I should say new lows. It makes the to-do my manager had over me being 10 minutes late in the morning feel even pettier by contrast, if he was planning to keep me behind for so long. Butthole. It was pitch black when I finally escaped from the office, which was a bit of a bummer. Yes, I did spend my daylight hours either commuting to work or at work, but that wasn't even the worst thing. It was raining. It's still raining, in fact, as I dash through the street, holding my briefcase up over my head like a makeshift umbrella for all good it's doing. My scalp's already soaked though, and so are my shoulders. I usually watch the news in the morning when I'm eating my breakfast, but I didn't have the time this morning because of the whole oversleeping thing. Since I didn't see the weather forecast, I had no choice but to wing it. It's a pretty clear morning, so I figured it'd be safe to forego an umbrella. That was a good 13 hours ago, though, and I can now see the folly of my own ways. It's positively pissing it down. I've only been out in this miserable weather for 5 minutes, if that, and I already feel like a corpse that's been dredged out of a canal. My clothes are sticking to me and my socks squelch with every footstep I take. My heart, meanwhile, is hammering my chest, and my breaths are coming out in sharp bursts. Rainwater is trickling down the back of my shirt against my neck, in this way which is way too intimate to be comfortable. It's freezing. There are puddles everywhere, too, all over the streets. The water's starting to seep into my clothes. I'm shivering. Jeez, I'm not gonna catch a cold, am I? That'd be just my luck. I just can't catch a break. Why is my life so unfair? I continue to run, doing my best to ignore the rain that's pelting me, until I can finally see the lights of the train station not too far away. I make a mad dash for the station, not like I wasn't dashing already, and head for the turnstiles by the front of the building. Fortunately, since it's so late, there aren't all that many people around. I don't have to queue for the turnstiles, and I'm able to scan my card without a fuss, beyond the shaking my fingers, I mean. I duck through the ticket barrier, then take my damp, sad, squelchy way over to the platform where my train is already waiting. I have nightmare visions of my train pulling away before I've had a chance to step inside. It will be just my luck given the way today's gone, so I speed up, taking the stairs down to the platform 3 at a time. I dash out again onto the platform, subjecting myself to the downpour yet again, which is refusing to let up. I think it's raining even heavier now, actually, than it was when I first stepped out of the office. The rain strikes me, sharp as knitting needles. No, even sharper. It's so cold I can feel my skin freezing. My teeth are chattering. This is just great. By great, I mean poo. I love to be alive. Luckily for me, I'm able to hop onto the train mere milliseconds before it prepares for departure. The door slides shut behind me with a whir, and I let out a sigh. I've finally gotten onto the train, which is a boon, but I don't feel much in the way of relief. Mostly, I just feel cold. The train shifts about me, and I almost stumble. My legs feel even weaker than a newborn's. There are plenty of free seats on account of how late it is, but I don't feel like sitting down. I'm so wet. I just get the upholstery damp, which will create more work for the cleaning staff later down the line. I'm creating enough work for them as it is already, given I've got puddles all over the floor, but I don't need to make things worse. I, unlike my manager, am considerate. I'm trying to be considerate at least, but... Another sneeze tears its way away from my throat, one so loud that the elderly woman sitting in front of the train near me gives me an alarmed look like she's seen a ghost. I'm not being a public disturbance, am I? I don't want to make a scene, really. I don't. I can't help being wet. If only I thought to bring an umbrella. I'm still busy bemoaning my luck, or lack thereof, when the train comes to a halt at the next station. The door opens, and the old lady, who was sitting a few seats down from me, rises, then shuffles off, though not without giving me a dirty look. Well, I've half a mind to say I'm very sorry. Can't help that I got soaked. It's not my fault I was coughing. You should count yourself lucky I wasn't coughing all over you. Some people are so ungrateful, I swear. I'm feeling pretty sorry for myself, not to mention all sun when. Well. Would you look at what the cat dragged in? You're certainly a sight for sore eyes, Hibiki. Ah! I yelp in this manifestly uncool manner that often seems to happen when I'm around him and whip my head around. There he is, in the flesh. It's Hyuga, came to torment me at my lowest. Yippee for me! Hey there, Hyuga. I look him up and down, feeling pretty sniffly as I do so. It might be cold and wet, but Hyuga looks perfectly prim and pristine. His dark hair is slicked back, as it always is, though he's left a few strands loose in a manner I think was deliberate. His clothes, meanwhile, are devoid of any wrinkles, and his shoes look freshly polished. How was he able to avoid the worst of the rain? He must have the devil's own luck, I swear. What are you doing here? Going home from work. What do you ask? Aren't you glad to see me? I'm never glad to see you. That is unwholly true, of course, but whatevs. I'm in a bad mood, and I don't feel like playing nice. So, were you working late? I was, yeah. Work's been pretty rough lately. I stay in the office until 8 or 9 most nights. Oh wow. I guess I'll explain why I've not seen him much lately. Our schedules mustn't have been mapping up well. I must feel sorry for him. It sounds tough. It's been tough, yeah, but I think I'm over the hump of it now. At the very least, I hope I am. I'm starting to get a bit tired. What, even you have your limits? Of course, not infallible, though I know I must look at. Hyuga chuckles, which makes me want to kick him, just a little. He's so easily, effortlessly self-confident. Talking to him makes me feel very small and inconsequential indeed. What about you? Were you working late too? Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's been a long day. Getting caught in the rain on the way to the station didn't help. It really is coming down hard, isn't it? Hasn't rained like this in months. Tell me about it. You seem alright though, despite the poopy weather. Yeah, how'd you do it? Don't tell me you have magic powers. Oh yes, of course I do. Yeah, I knew it was too perfect to be an ordinary human. By magic powers, you mean an umbrella. Hyuga gestures to his umbrella, which he's clutching in the same hand as his briefcase as I blink. No. Didn't notice that, but I guess it makes sense. Hyuga might be elegant, yeah, for a guy that's tall. I doubt even he can pirouette to avoid the falling raindrops. That would just be silly. Didn't you watch the weather forecast this morning? They said it would rain later. You could have spared yourself some hassle if you thought to bring an umbrella of your own. I didn't get a chance. Woke up late. I rolled my eyes. You don't need to fuss about me, you know. Didn't ask you to. I know. My apologies. I'm just trying to look after you. I suppose it comes with the territory, being an older sibling. Maybe it does, but I'm not your sibling, thank goodness. Do you hate the idea of being related to me that much then? Well, yeah, I think. Because then it feels even more awkward about being attracted to you. Liking men is hard enough without being related into it. I don't actually say that though because I can't. That'd just be inviting trouble, and I've had more than enough of that, thank you very much, to last me a lifetime. Instead, I say in a despondent sort of way. I get the feeling you'll be pretty overwhelming, that's all. Yeah, well, you wouldn't be the first to think so. Kazusa's told me that too. I wonder why. I roll my eyes, which prompts Hyuga to laugh again. So why exactly, I'm not sure. He seems to laugh when he's with me a lot. But I'm never quite certain whether he's laughing with me or at me. I know it doesn't sound like a big distinction, but it is, in my mind at least. It makes me feel awkward enough as it is, under the best of circumstances when I'm not dripping wet. But right now, things feel way too stacked in his favor. He must think I look like such a fool. Heck, I think I look like a fool. I wonder if that cinches it. Am I really an idiot? So Hibiki, live further down this line than I do you? You're always on a train first after I get on. Yeah, I'm like 10 stops away. What do you ask? Out of a sense of gentlemanly propriety, of course. Gentlemanly propriety. Yeah, right. Is he trying to make me barf? I don't like the thought of you having to wait that long to step into the shower. And when you're already so wet. You're shivering already. And you're sneezing. If you stay in those damn clothes too long, you might catch a cold. So, what are you suggesting? You can't be expecting me to strip on a train, right? Well, that would certainly be an interesting proposition. For Hyuga, maybe, after I get arrested for public indecency. I'm sure he'd find it hilarious. But no, that's not what I'm getting at here. What are you getting at then? My place is only 4 stops away and my apartment's pretty close to the station. You want to come with? I don't mind you using my bath, and I can give you a change of clothes too. You might be a little shorter than I am. Yeah, rub it in. We should be able to fit into some of my things. What do you think? Well, first thing I'm thinking of, if I'm being wholly honest, is he trying to proposition me? Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but this sounds less like an offer made from gentlemanly propriety, like Hyuga said, and more like an attempt to get me alone so he can, I don't know, lock me up in a cage, maybe? What if you in cages, Hibiki? Does Hyuga have any cages in his apartment? What sane man has a cage in their apartment? Please don't tell me there's an actual cage in the apartment. Please. Maybe I should ask. You're not going all Kurisaki Shin on me, are you? No. That depends. On whether you want me to go all Kurisaki Shin on you. We could try it out if you like. But I thought you didn't care for blood, and I think I'd prefer a nice night in. Maybe we can watch a movie. What movie? I know. I'll let you pick. Your treat. What do you want to treat me? I think it'd just be a nice thing to do. You've been kind enough to indulge my idle chatter these last few months, so I figured I might as well look out for you. It'd be wrong of me if I left you like this, all cold, damp, and wet. My poor, waterlogged little kitten. I thought I was doing a good job at controlling my flushed face, but obviously not. The mere mention of that pet name is enough to make me turn beet red. If I had any questions before, they've long since been expunged. He is propositioning me. He's interested in me, or at least I think he is. Why else would he be inviting me to his place? On a Friday night, no less. He didn't give me a clear answer on his sexuality back then, but this offer, if I choose to take it, should clear a few things up. I'm intrigued. I can't deny it. It does feel like things are moving a bit fast. Never been to another guy's house before. Not in like a sordid late night hookup sort of sense. I've been to other guys' houses before, of course, back when I was in school. Never been the most sociable guy, but they have some friends, but wasn't quite like this. It never made me feel like this. I'm woefully inexperienced when it comes to romance. Maybe that's why Moriyama Mamoru's voice gets to me so much. I don't actually have any actual experience when it comes to dating other guys, so I don't know how to properly regulate my heartbeat when I have somebody like Moriyama Mamoru whispering sultry promises into my ear. I don't know how to properly regulate my heartbeat right now, either. It feels like it's beating out of control, hammering so hard, my ribs might splinter. I'm overwhelmed, and the all-encompassing sound of the falling rain, pitter-patter, coupled with Hyuga's sheer closeness isn't helping. Part of me wants to pull away from him, but it must be a pretty small part of me because I'm not able to articulate those words. This is pretty embarrassing, but... Well, if you're as worried about me as all that, then I guess it'd be rude to refuse. I don't want to ruin your evening, so I suppose I can go back with you. Just lead the way. Well, that was just about as smooth as chunky peanut butter. Pooh. I'm fully prepared as I stand there, shivering in the rain's artificial light, for Hyuga to laugh at me, just like he did during our first meeting, but he doesn't. Instead, he smiles. And he says in a way which is chillingly like Moriyama Mamoru, but in like a bootleg sort of way. But of course, I bet you'd like it if I took charge, wouldn't you? That is what you're into after... Oh, God, hey, Hyuga, no! That is what you're into after all. You don't need to do this for me, you know. Do what? You know, the whole umbrella thing? I glance upwards at the canopy of Hyuga's sleek black umbrella, which is currently shielding the top of my head from the worst of the rain to punctuate my point. This umbrella is pretty fancy as far as the umbrella goes. It's definitely not a cheap $100 yen fine from a convenience store. It's not that big. It can fit all of me beneath it, but just about. But there's not quite enough room for Hyuga himself, so he's cozied up to me in this kinda sorta intimate way. He's getting wet. I can see that unseemly damp spot beginning to form on his right shoulder. A damp spot which keeps getting bigger as we beat our way through the streets. It's making me feel kinda guilty, actually. What you're doing is nice and all, but I think it's a case of too little too late. I'm soaked through already, so you don't need to bother giving me an umbrella. It's a waste. Just stand under it yourself, why don't you? Oh? Hyuga smiles. He seems to do that a lot when he's around me. Don't you like sharing an umbrella with me, Hibiki? I hope the close proximity does not make you uncomfortable. No, that's not the issue. Irritatingly enough. I'm more worried about your suit. Isn't it expensive? I don't want it getting ruined. Oh, that. Hyuga continues to smile, as though he's only been made aware of the damn spot spreading on his shoulder, which of course is total BS. He must have noticed already. Nobody's that unobservant, unless he wants to claim that he got so distracted by my eyes the rest of the world ceased to exist. If he spout a weak line like that, I might have to hit him. It'd be the one thing to hear Moriyama Mamoru say something like that, but he has the sort of voice that can turn any line, no matter how corny, into spun gold. Hyuga's voice isn't quite at that level. It is nice though. I'll have to give him that. It's fine. Don't worry about me. You're the one who's shivering. But it's not like I really care. I just don't want to be a burden, I mean. I step in a puddle as I speak, and cold water splashes everywhere. Some of it spatters on my cough and I curse. Ah, frick. I've not been paying attention to where I'm going. I'm too focused, I guess, on the damn spot of Hyuga's right shoulder. Not to mention Hyuga's left shoulder, which is getting all buddy-buddy with mine under the umbrella. The bottom of Hyuga's trousers, meanwhile, are all soaked thanks to yours truly. I'm such a klutz. I'm sorry. Make a mess of things. That's alright. It's dark and it's raining pretty hard. Not gonna blame you for stepping in a stray puddle or two. But I've ruined your trousers. I'll be fine. It's just a bit of water. We'll come out in the wash. Besides, I have other trousers and other jackets too. It's not the end of the world. Man, he sounds so calm. It's like he's wholly in his element. Which, given the continued pitter-patter of water against the umbrella, would be water, I guess. Maybe ice if you want to factor in how cold it is. Whatever. I sigh, and when I do, the back of my throat starts to tickle. My nostrils constrict, and then I sneeze. Ah! Ah! Bless you. You're right. Yeah, I know. I hope so. I can't stop. Wow, I'm such a catch. Sneezing. I think I really must have caught something. I don't want to give you my germs. That seemed like a pretty bad way to repay you for your kindness. You're being nice, and I'm just getting mucus everywhere. It's kind of nasty. I don't think you're nasty. Even when my nose is running? Well, that isn't the most appealing thing I've ever seen, but I'm not about to judge you for it. We're all only human. You're so perfect. I sometimes wonder that. Oh, I'm far from perfect. I've heard I can be quite incorrigible. When it comes to your stupid nicknames, yeah, and your weird insistence that I come back home with you. Hugo slows at this, then pauses. He looks at me, his eyes half-lidded, and in a soft voice, half subsumed by the rain, he murmurs, "Do you really think my insistences are weird?" Huh? That was in my imagination, or does he sound a little upset about that? I hope I've not touched a nerve. Well, I don't think it's weird exactly, but I don't really get why you're being so nice to me. I kind of feel like I don't deserve it, you know? And why wouldn't you deserve my attention? Because you're, you know. No, I don't know. What am I, Hibiki? What do you think of me? I don't know. I guess it's just, you're this lawyer and you always seem so poised. You have a good job and I bet you make a lot of money and you're, I don't know. You're older than me and way more responsible. I'm already 24, but I still live with my parents. My life's nothing special, really. I'm nothing special. I guess I don't get why you care so much is all. I don't think I'm worth getting wet over or getting sick over. A few hours of my company seems like an unfair trade-off. So I make you feel self-conscious, do I? Yeah, a bit, I guess. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe part of me does cultivate it on purpose. I enjoy making people squirm, but I don't want to make you uncomfortable. Not right now, at least. Or rather, be nice with you. Well, I got that, but why? What did I do to deserve it? Why, who ask? Huh. I don't know if I quite the words to explain it, and it'd be tedious if I attempted it. So, instead... Hugo's brown eyes bore into my own. Once again, he exhales, his breath warm against my face, which is chill from the cool air. His expression softens. Then, his eyelashes, which are longer than I've even before anticipated, fall shut. He leans in, and I know, frozen in place beneath the umbrella, what will happen even before it does. I can see it, in slow motion, a split second early. Maybe you could call it a premonition? I know that Hugo means to kiss me. I've never been kissed before, by anybody other than my family members, my parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles and the like. Once my little cousin now kissed me on the cheek. I told her that her crayon drawing of what I think was Mount Fuji looked really good. I was being diplomatic, but I don't think any of those kisses really count. Those kisses didn't take place in a darkened street beneath an umbrella surrounded by the rain. The irregular sound of water striking the pavement thrums against my earlobes. My body tenses. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with my face. The milliseconds pass, during which I feel so worked up, I'm afraid I might hyperventilate, and then... Oh! It happens. It's a little more anticlimactic than I anticipated. Hugo's lips meet mine, and yeah, they're soft. Unusually soft for a guy's, maybe. I'm not too sure about that, so it's not like it's an earth-shattering event. Time doesn't stand still. My heart doesn't explode. The rain continues to fall around me, striking the pavement, while Hugo's lips press against mine. A cold wind blows, and I tremble. This is my first kiss. It's nothing cataclysmic, but it isn't alarming either. I'm not afraid. It feels a little strange, but I think I might be getting used to it. I think I might like it. Ugh. Let my own eyelashes fall shut. After what seems like a small eternity, though, in actuality, it's probably more like 2 seconds, and I sigh into Hyuga's kiss. I part my lips as to deepen the kiss, and as I do, I find myself thinking, guess he's not such a smug dude after all. He's being surprisingly bearable right now, but maybe that's because he can't talk. Time continues to pass. I don't know how much until Hyuga, at last, draws away. His eyes are half-lit, with affection maybe, and there's a smile playing about his lips, which for once didn't make me want to punch him. It's this unusually abashed smile, which makes him look like the cool, composed defense attorney he is, and more like a young boy. He looks thrown. Did I throw him? I was the one who initiated the kiss, though. If he's embarrassed by this, he only has himself to blame. It's not like I'm going to apologize for being so irresistible. He didn't have any choice but to kiss me. Now, this is my fault. I like to say that I'm innocent, but goodness, you really are cute. I am? Incredibly so. Hyuga reaches out and presses his hand, the one which isn't holding its umbrella, against my cheek. Which is why I'm always telling you to be more careful. You're so pretty. It really is a wonder other guys haven't tried anything yet. You need to be more aware of your own appearances. Otherwise, you'll get in trouble, and I won't always be there to help you. I meant to protect you from all those guys, but I guess I let my guard down. You overwhelmed me. Now, I've become one of those people myself. I guess I'm no better than all those guys I warned you about. Unless you'll agree to be my boyfriend, of course. Then, I'll be able to kiss you as much as I want. I'll be able to protect you. I won't let anybody else lay a finger on you. I promise. Huh? I stare at Hyuga, feeling pretty out of sorts as well. I might give the intensity of that confession. I'm reeling here, all red-faced, feeling even more off-kilter than I did after the kiss until... Hyuga begins to laugh, and when he does, realization suddenly dawns. I thought those lines sounded familiar, but now I finally placed them. Those words might have come from Hyuga's mouth, but he's not the one who devised them. Those lines, instead, came straight from... That's Rintaro! That's exactly what he says after he kisses the heroine. You just stole a bunch of his lines, didn't you? So you recognize that? I'm impressed. Of course I recognized it! In fact, now that I think about it, this whole stupid scenario is from Rintaro's drama CD. He also winds up walking the heroine back home in the dark while it's raining. They share an umbrella, and then she says she's worried she'll give him her coal, and he says, if I cared about catching your germs, I wouldn't do this. That's right, this is all Rintaro, down to the smallest details, and you should know how I feel about him. You trying to make fun of me? No, that was never my intention, Hibiki. Then what's your intention, huh? Well, I really do like you, that isn't a lie. I'll believe it when I see it. But the opportunity presented itself, and I couldn't resist. You know I like goading people, and I've always wanted to try those lines in somebody. Just thought it'd be funny. Really, though. Hyuga splutters. You should have seen the look on your face. Yeah, I'm sure it was really funny. Ha ha ha, let's all laugh at Hibiki. Jeez, I can't believe I had to fall for you, of all people. Then you really do like me? Well, yeah. Wouldn't have agreed to go back to your place if I didn't, and I definitely wouldn't have let you kiss me. I don't agree to go out with every strange man that propositions me, thank you very much. Never imagined that you would. It's so prickly. Yeah, well, you bring it out of me, you and Rintaro. I pull a face. If you had to rattle off any lines from possessive boyfriends, couldn't you have gone with some of Shin's? I actually like him. I know you like him, but as most of Shin's lines revolve around threatening to murder the heroine's family, her friends, and her pets, if she doesn't agree to his every wish and whim, I thought it might have gone down very well. I don't want to come across like some escaped psych patient. So you're ready to come across as a chauvinist? I mean, you need to be more aware of yourself, otherwise you get in trouble. I raised an eyebrow. I don't think every man out there would assault you if you give them half the chance, and to be your fault is much better than If I don't get into this cage, I'm going to stab your mother to... Can I say this word on YouTube? I don't know. YouTube is really prickly about what I say. I think one might provoke more raised eyebrows than the other. Hyuga grins. But I forgot who I'm dealing with. You don't seem to mind awful men, so long as they have sufficiently sad backstories. Shin's just misunderstood. You shouldn't be so judgmental. Alright then. Maybe I will try a few of Shin's lines on you next, provided we keep things within the realm of pure fantasy. Would you like that? Your voice isn't as deep as Moriyama Mamoru's, so I'm not sure if it really worked. But I look at Hyuga's dark eyes, which are glittering, and his right shoulder, which is still splattered with rain, as though I probably will be mad at him for spoiling my first proper kiss with a bunch of Rintaro's incredibly cringy lines. I can't keep it up. It's hard to be mad at him when his smile is so infectious. He might have sucked the seriousness out of this whole affair, but maybe that's for the best. I think I have the tendency to take things too seriously. Maybe I should learn to laugh at myself more. I should try to be a bit more like Hyuga. Jeez, I didn't realize you're such a dork. Well, of course I'm a dork. I never tried to deny that. Change will be a fine thing when I've spent the last decade in love with fictional pretty boys. Well... I smile despite myself, then lean against Hyuga's shoulder, accepting his umbrella at long last without complaint. I guess it takes one to know one. Do you admit that you too are a dork? Of course I am. I'm a huge dork. It's something I got teased about, actually, back in school. But I guess I don't mind being teased by you quite as much. The kissing make it worthwhile? The kissing wasn't bad. I still haven't wholly decided how I feel about it. I guess you'll have to kiss me a bit more so I can make up my mind. Oh, is that an invitation? It might just be. Now, why don't we get back to your place? I still need to change out these damn clothes before I catch my death of cold. If you're anything at all like the possessive boyfriends, then you have to take proper care of me. Otherwise, I feel pretty shortchanged. I grin, standing on my tiptoes, I mutter, Kazuya. Then quick as a flash, I lean in, and I press a kiss against his cheek. Anyway, that was the end of Is It Wrong to Want to Be Locked Up, Toyed With, and Tortured by a Hot Guy? I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, link to the game is in the description below in case you guys want to play it. And of course, we will be back with more videos tomorrow. So hey, if you aren't subscribed yet, what are you guys doing? Heck, the subscribe button's down there. But anyway, hope you all have a lovely rest of the day. And as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.